night. I hope you have a delicious sippy. I have Gosling's Diet Ginger Beer. It's so refreshing. Unlike root beer, that is, in my opinion, too sweet. This is kind of tart. And 'tis the season. Okay, well, here we are. Thanks for joining me. Are you ready? A little bit about 3-Page Thursday. 3 Pages Thursday is an effort to do more reading of screenplays and scripts. As a writer, I'm here to tell you it just comes alive. Oxygen gets breathed into those words, and it's too small a word to say it's amazing. It's wonderful. It's transforming. It shows you where the holes are in the story. So I've got mine on my laptop right here. Oh, if only I had a printout. So I am going to get started. We are reading tonight from Finding Chupa, the episode titled Vine Time, about Sonoma Cellars. I hope you enjoy it. And most importantly, the idea of 3 Pages Thursday is for you, writer, to get your screenplay read. It's for you, actor, to just practice, to just get out. So here we go. Oh, did that notification sound? Oops. And it's the holidays, so it's so noisy. Can you hear Pete? I hope you don't. That's the fish tank. I hope it's not too noisy. And then yes, that's the dog with the new squeaky toy. What was I thinking when I bought the dog a new squeaky toy on a time the house needs to be quiet? That other sound, there's a game marathon challenge going on. Whoa, I forget the name of the game, but yeah, the house is full and noisy. From my ginger beer to yours, 'tis the season. Cheers, let's go. Finding Chupa, Episode 4, Vine Time. Sonoma Sauvignon Cellars is an elegant, classy, beautiful, and successful woman who has inherited her family's wine business. She's been tending the vines for as long as she can remember. Her summers were spent harvesting the grapes while her winters were spent mulching the roots of the vines. It was very common for her to go back and forth between the vineyard and the barrel room. She never had a reason to feel unsafe, even in the dark warehouse where the fermenting barrels were stored. Sonoma Sauvignon, named by her parents after the region they make wine in, now has all the hills of Argentina where the Sauvignon grapevine was originally cultivated for their family vintner. Sonoma remembers that as a teenager, she began to really press into learning the family business. One particular winter, it was cold, colder than usual. It was her responsibility to monitor and maintain the warehouse temperature. Knowing that the stored wines have to stay between 68 degrees Fahrenheit and 71. Not colder, not warmer, in order for the ferment into the award-winning Cabernet her family is known for. So she ventured out of the house, down the vines, and into the warehouse cellar. There was a full moon to light the night sky. Sonoma says, in her own words, I remember being cold, but not scared. I just needed to get to the warehouse and check the temperature monitors on both ends of the building. Then, if needed, adjust the heating. Not too hot, not too cold. Just what a cab sav likes. I always used my Princess flashlight. You know, the one with the pink sparkles and rainbows on it. I love that flashlight. I used it for night excursion, but mainly I use it to stay up late at night reading under the blankets with that flashlight. Sometimes I'd sneak downstairs to grab a kitchen cookie and nibble on the while reading my comic books and vineyard manuals. So this night would be no different. The interviewer asks Sonoma, Sonoma, wine seems to be in your blood. How far back does the family vintner go? And Sonoma says, Oh, my family's been in wine for centuries. We're Italian. The interviewer asks another question because she sees that there's something behind Sonoma's eyes. Is it fear? Scared? Excitement? The interviewer asks, aren't you a little young to be monitoring something so important as temperatures? What about the dials and the gauges? Aren't they complex? Sonoma laughs. Complex? No, not complex at all. I've literally been in the vines, in the vineyard, with my family, tending the grapes since I learned to walk. I know these things inside and out. It's in my blood. And the interviewer says, very well, let's continue. Sonoma, would you please tell me more about that night? And Sonoma says, I remember that night like it was yesterday. How could I forget? When I arrived at the warehouse, I remember feeling something odd. Like something was out of place. Just not quite right. I also remember the moonlight on the vines was shimmery and gorgeous. You know, like the stuff fairy tales are made out of. I used the keypad to enter the warehouse code and then made my way downstairs. It's like any other day, like any other night in our vintner season. Oh, I love it down there. The scent of cedar and oak and wine and that yeasty fermenty goodness is growing smell. I love the barrel room. So I started on the south end of the building and it was just to the right. Not a tweak needed. Oh, looking at that temperature gauge just let me know that I was hyper aware as usual. It's just something about me. I've always been hypersensitive. It was a sigh of relief, and as I started to make my way through the dark to the north end, I thought I saw something move. That's not possible. No one gets in here after the workday is done. The north end monitor is high, just a few degrees. Oh, it's a good thing I came down to check. The south end is good, the north end is high. That's different. That's curious. I knew something was up, but I couldn't put my finger on what it was. I just made the adjustment. I felt satisfied, locked up, and I started making my way back to the house. The interviewer asks Miss Sonoma, when you noticed something was odd and off, did your gut feeling tell you anything? And Sonoma answers, no, it was just wine. It just needed tweaking. It was just the temperature. And it isn't completely common to have the two ends of the warehouse be different temperatures. They're usually within 1 to 2 degrees of each other. And to see the north end so high, I did think it was odd, but then again, it was an El Nino year. The interviewer says, thank you for clarifying. Please continue your story. Sonoma says, well, I locked up and started making my way back to the house. And as I was passing the tasting table, well, that's what we call it. And the interviewer says, well, what's the tasting table? Tell me about that. Oh, it's the original tool shed. It's still on the property. And we usually, well, at that time, the workers are my parents because I was too young. We would sample some of the wines in their process to taste how the grapes are developing on the vines. There's usually a couple of open wine bottles on that table. I noticed all the bottles were empty and turned over. But there was no spillage. Like the bottles were empty, but the wine did not spill. Did someone finish it all? That would be odd. Then I heard footsteps. Or like something was dragging. It scared me. I don't scare easily. I keep hearing the scuffling noise in the dark and my heart was racing. I pointed my flashlight all around to see if there was something or someone there. And then I saw it. It was large, scaly. No, maybe hairy, like wiry hair, really coarse, wiry. Oh, it had claws. It was on all fours. But then it would try to stand up on its hind legs. And I don't think it was human, but then it wasn't quite animal either. I could see long canine teeth and smell a mixture of like old wine and wet dog. I don't know quite what to make of it. What I do know, because I know wine. I know wine. I know people. I know what 1 glass, 2 glass, 3 glass floor looks like. And what I do know is whatever that thing was, it was tipsy. As a teenager, I had been around the business long enough to know when someone had been in the vino too much. And whatever that creature was that night in the vineyard, in the moonlight, had gotten into the tasting tables of bottles. I turned off my flashlight and slowly began to back away. No need to startle the creature. I didn't know how fast it could run, but I did know how fast I could. Once I was away from the old shed tasting table and into the vines, I turned and ran as fast as I could. I dropped my favorite flashlight, the one with the rainbows and the sparkles and the twinkly lights, and I didn't even stop to pick it up. The last I saw of it, it was wobbly on its forelegs under the table. I remember the next day I went back to get my flashlight. I know just where I dropped it in the vineyard. And it was gone. Near the tasting table at the old shed, the dirt had large paw prints, bigger than a big dog kind of paw prints, bigger than like the local mountain lion. There were long scratches in the side of the old shed. It scared the migrant workers. They said it looked like the work of a chupacabra, which is some old myth from their homes in Mexico. I don't know what it is, but what I do know is I want my flashlight back. End scene. Oh my gosh, 3 pages. Takes about 10 minutes. Well, I'm glad you were here and joined me for this because I am committed to, I think I'm going to do it for 3 months, 12 weeks. I'm using the last of December tonight to just test this. Let's see what happens. Where does it go? And then I'll do it next week. I hope to have, won't you join me? I hope to have a guest join me and read. And I'd love to read somebody else's script. And if not, we can read one of mine. Gosh knows I have many. So next Thursday, it's 7 p.m. I'm in Arizona. So it's 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And I think that goes 6 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard, Arizona. We don't change. We don't do that time change business. That would be 8 p.m. Central and 9 p.m. Ooh, a bedtime story for those 9 p.m. Eastern Standard people. Either way you cut it, I really hope that in the next coming weeks as we come live on a Thursday to just do 3 pages of a screenplay, mine or yours. Actors join in if you want. If you're not an actor, join in anyhow. It's so much fun to read aloud and hear the story. And even just hearing it now, I feel like there's some beat paces I want to change a little bit. Storytelling is the secret to the generations. So I won't see you until next Thursday, and after then, it will be after Christmas. So from my cup of ginger beer to yours, cheers. I hope you have a very, very Merry Christmas. Hope your Hanukkah was beautiful. I hope all those who are going to have a Festivus, like the rest of us, have a lot of fun. Happy Kwanzaa. Whatever you're doing to celebrate, I hope it's beautiful and wonderful. Please join me next Thursday for 3 Pages Thursday. I'll let you know in the update and on Twitter what we're going to be reading, and I look forward to joining with you then. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.